famous magic. Tonight, he'll examine how language plays an important role in creating memorable experiences, not only for guests at theme parks, but for people everywhere. Join me in welcoming Jeffrey Moffett, Themed Phrasing, Jeffrey Moffett.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like you to imagine for a moment vacationing at a ski resort in Colorado. You see the mountains covered with a thick blanket, white with snow. You'd smell the scent of pine trees in the air. You may even hear sleigh bells in the distance. With all that in mind, though, you wouldn't necessarily expect one of the employees of that ski resort to come up to you and greet you with a hearty aloha. It's a wonderful greeting, and it's perfectly natural if you're from Hawaii or if the employee is from Hawaii. However, that word doesn't necessarily mesh with what we've seen, smelled, and heard at that ski resort in Colorado. That's why themed phrasing is important. Tonight, I'd like to share with you what themed phrasing is, as well as give you a couple of examples of how it can be used effectively. Now, as Doug mentioned, I spent a little bit of time at the Disneyland Resort, and that's where I learned about themed phrasing. It's using certain words or phrases to complement or create an experience. It's a helpful tool if you're an author putting together a period piece and you have to match what people are saying in a certain time and place. It's also helpful if you're running a company and your primary product is creating experiences for guests and customers, like Disney does and like that ski resort does. In fact, that ski resort is putting out the experience for their guests of they're going into a winter wonderland. Then that ski resort has to pay attention to everything their guests see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. Now, aloha, again, is a wonderful greeting. However, it calls to mind for many people surfing and snorkeling and other things associated with a tropical paradise, not necessarily skiing and sledding and other things associated with a winter wonderland. Theme phrasing can also be used not just for greetings, but when you try to get across regular information or just routine information like safety reminders. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have been to Disneyland, Walt Disney World, or any kind of amusement park? 1, 2, 3. Is that everyone? My goodness, all right. Theme parks, when you go into one, you hear safety reminders over and over and over again, and they go something like this. Remain seated at all times. Keep everything that belongs to you in your ride vehicle at all times. Supervise your children at all times. Over and over and over again. It's dry, it's mundane, but it's important. Everyone needs to know those things in order to continue to have a good time. But what Disney does is that they use themed phrasing to take that important information but theme it in a way that fits the experience they're trying to get across to their guests. So for instance, how many of you have been on an attraction called the Haunted Mansion? Mansion 3? Okay, fair number. For those who haven't, the Haunted Mansion is a slow-moving ride through this creepy old mansion that's home to 999 happy haunts. I'd like you to imagine getting in line for this ride. You're in a darkened corridor. You see flickering candlelight all around you. You hear spooky music coming in on an organ. You smell the faint, musty scent of odor in the air. And then when you're about to get into your ride vehicle, or doom buggy, as they say, you hear a disembodied voice which says this: "Do not pull down on the safety bar, please. I will lower it for you. And heed this warning. The spirits will materialize only if you remain safely seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside. And watch your children, please." Basic safety information conveyed in a way that is themed to the Haunted Mansion experience. That's how Disney uses themed phrasing. But you could also find it in places where you wouldn't necessarily expect it to be used at. How many of you have ever taken a ride on a BART train before? BART train, okay. Everyone, all right. It's a fairly routine experience. You get on the train at point A, you listen to the train operator make announcements such as what station's coming up next and what the final destination of the train is, and then you get off at point B and go on with your regular business. Again, it's dry, mundane information to hear those announcements, but important. There's one train operator, at least, named Bob Melito, and he isn't content to just give those mundane announcements. He likes to make the mundane memorable. And here's how he does it. If you were to get on his train at Embarcadero Station in downtown San Francisco, and as the doors close, you wouldn't hear over the intercom, "Next stop, West Oakland." You would instead hear this: "Kick back, relax, and enjoy as we set sail on Captain Jack's Cruise of the Bay as we set sail for West Oakland." And all of a sudden, you're not on a commute anymore. You're on an adventure. When you get to, when you get to West Oakland, and you would expect to hear, "Our next stop is 19th Street Station. This is a Pittsburgh Bay Point train." Instead, you would hear, "We're making like a herd of turtles as we set sail for MacArthur Station. MacArthur Station's up next. This is a Bay Point train." It brings it alive. It makes it more than what it seems. And that's what theme phrasing does. It takes the mundane and it makes it memorable. So overall, theme phrasing is about using certain words and phrases to complement or create an experience. It can be used in places where you're expecting it to be used at. It can also be used to make ordinary experiences seem a bit more special too. And in the end, it's a reminder of the power of language and its ability to excite our imagination. Mr. Toastmaster.